I want to take you back to December 2nd, 2022, the day I was sworn in to the State Bar of California as a newly minted attorney. Just a few weeks later, I find myself at my first holiday party as an attorney. And the room is a mixture of a number of members of the legal community. We're all gathered around for the cocktail reception before the formal program and dinner begins thereafter. I make my way over to the bar and request a glass of champagne. The bartender looks at me, he sizes me up just enough, and then he smiles. And he leans in and says, "Well, ma'am, I don't have champagne. I can only offer you Prosecco. And I'm telling you this because you look like the kind of woman who could tell the difference between the two." He continues on, "And I'd hate for you to take a first sip, be disappointed, and go find an attorney in the room," to which he physically points over my left shoulder to my male colleagues. And he states, "I'd hate for you to go find an attorney in the room and sue me for serving you an inferior drink." Now I'm taken aback, of course, because I too am an attorney. So I pause, and then I smile. And I respond, "Well, you really won't have to worry about that. You see, I wouldn't go find some attorney to sue you. I'd simply do it myself." His eyes got really big after that, so I wished him a Merry Christmas and I went on to enjoy my Prosecco, because he was right about one thing. I shared this story to lay context for one of the themes of this talk, and it's exploring the tension between how people perceive you and how you choose to respond. What I've learned is how you respond in moments like that one is often shaped well before you step into them. Because extraordinary lives often aren't built in the spotlight. They're built in the dark, in the quiet work, in the unseen discipline, and in the habits that shape you long before anyone notices. Over time, I've come to understand that there are three commitments that form an extraordinary life. The first one is this: master the invisible. Before anyone calls you extraordinary, before titles, applause, or recognition, there's work happening that no one sees. Work that may not be acknowledged or celebrated, but it is the work that shapes you. In the fall of 2010, I was sitting right where you are, but as a freshman majoring in electrical engineering here at Prairie View A&M University. Now, I didn't have some master plan for where I thought my career might take me, and I certainly had no inkling that I'd ever become a patent litigation attorney. But what I did have were habits that were first instilled in me even before college. In grade school, I was part of NASA's High School Aerospace Scholars Program, and I was also part of an engineering academy at my high school in Missouri City, Texas. Through these programs and initiatives, I learned early on that structure, curiosity, and showing up consistently paves the way for any big goal. As a student at Prairie View, long before any recognition or the Miss Prairie View pageant, it was those long nights of studying that continued to mold me and helped me to refine my habits of choosing preparation over distraction and holding firm to consistency when my motivation, quite frankly, wanted to run out. Now, the dean of the College of Engineering at the time, he had a saying. He'd often tell us, "Engineering is like a jealous boyfriend. He wants all of your time." And let me tell you, he wasn't wrong. Because if I was being honest, there were times when this didn't feel strategic. It just felt hard, insurmountable even. But those moments of invisible work were cultivating something within me, even when I couldn't see it yet. There also came a point in undergrad where I found myself offshore on 2 different oil platforms in deep water Gulf of Mexico. In those spaces and others, whether in engineering or later in law, I was the only woman in the room, sometimes the only person of color. Yet the same principle always applied: choosing discipline, showing up authentically and with a standard of excellence. That's how the work you do in private reveals itself in the moments that matter most. But mastering the invisible isn't just about having good habits. It's also about the standard you bring to them. A lot of what you're doing day to day, it's not going to feel significant at the time. But how you approach each moment, when you operate from a place of intention, pride, and a standard of excellence, that's what carries you forward. What you build in the dark is what sustains you for everything that follows. The second commitment for an extraordinary life is to hold to your calling. There may be times when your circumstances don't reflect your potential, or when things don't unfold according to plan. And in those times, it is so easy to believe the lie that your circumstances are telling you something about who you are. But they're not. They're simply revealing one data point about the moment you're in and testing your willingness to continue forward. It's up to you to hold steady to your vision, to remain anchored in your why, and to continue working until it's complete. And just as importantly, despite any challenges you face, you must give yourself permission to dream beyond what your circumstances might suggest. There are 3 stories I often return to whenever I face adversity along my path. First, Oprah Winfrey. When we hear the name Oprah, we think of a global media powerhouse. But early in her career, she was told that she wasn't fit for television, that she didn't have what it took to succeed on screen. Can you believe that? In fact, she was fired from her first job as a TV anchor. She later reflected on that moment saying, quote, "What I know for sure is that everything is in order. As bad as you feel on the day you're fired, the bounce back is equally as spectacular," end quote. Today, of course, we know Oprah is one of the most influential media figures in the world. The second story I draw from is Brock Purdy, currently a quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I'll add, I'm a proud New Orleans Saints fan, but I love this story. In 2022, Brock Purdy entered the NFL draft as the very last pick, number 262. His position in the draft was so overlooked that he earned the title Mr. Irrelevant. To be labeled that way, to be counted out before you've even begun, had to have felt discouraging. And yet, 2 years later, he led his team to the Super Bowl as a starting quarterback. Finally, the last story is from Steven Spielberg. Today, we know him as one of the most renowned directors of our time. But in his early years, he was rejected from USC School of Cinematic Arts, not once, but 2 times. Imagine if he had allowed those rejections to define what's possible for him. We'd never have the body of cinematic work that has shaped generations, including one of my personal favorites, the original Jurassic Park, released in 1993. His story is a reminder to us all that rejection doesn't mean the vision is wrong. Sometimes it just means the path will look a little different than we anticipated. And in Steven Spielberg's case, he turned those rejections into an Academy Award-winning career. And what all these stories inform me of is this: you are not defined by your circumstances, nor the opinions of others, because it's not what they call you, but what you answer to. In this life, you must learn to increase the volume on your calling and decrease the noise from everything that tries to distract you from it. There comes a point when you have to decide. Are you going to allow one disappointment define your trajectory? One rejection letter? Or maybe 3? Are you going to continue recycling the negative opinions of others long after they've been spoken? Or are you going to define your path and march forward with clarity and conviction, understanding that the journey may involve temporary detours? Walking in your calling will require courage. It will mandate that you take risks. And if you fail, you must master the art of rising again, of trying again. And I've had moments in my own journey when things didn't unfold as I expected, or when I outright failed something. And I had to decide whether that disappointment would interrupt my path or simply become part of it. I can tell you this: I am here today not because every single door opened to me, but because I remained rooted in my faith in God. I held to the vision for my life, and I refused to accept any outcome that didn't align with it. There may be times when you are overlooked, counted out, underestimated. Moments when what you're building doesn't yet match what you believe is possible. And in those times, it is critical that you don't wait for perfect conditions or validation to continue forward. Instead, you must keep going. Success is not defined by a series of setbacks. It's determined by your willingness to persevere through them. The final commitment for an extraordinary life is to rise together. Simply put, your presence matters. All of the work that it's taken for you to arrive at this moment, the persistence and sacrifice, it matters. But it's not just about you. As you continue along your path, there will be others who see themselves in you. Individuals who will look at your journey and realize what's possible. And they come to this realization not simply because you told them, but because you lived it. And that's why it starts with you right now. Never lose sight of this. We must always lift as we climb. As we reach new heights, we carry a supreme responsibility to bring others with us. And I'll admit, it's easy to always focus on what's next, the next opportunity, or the next milestone. But just as you reach for what's ahead, you must always reach back to extend a hand, to make space, or to create access where it didn't exist before. We've all heard the phrase, be the change you wish to see in the world. But what that actually looks like in practice is how you show up, how you choose to donate your time, or the ways you use your voice to advocate for something greater than yourself. And this doesn't have to be something big. Oftentimes, it rarely is. My challenge to you is to do one small act that makes it easier for someone else to keep going. You never know the impact it can have. In this life, we are all connected, whether we realize it or not. And it takes all of us, every single person listening to this message, to create the kind of change we say we want to see in the world. And over time, we resolve to what I know for sure. And it's that one of the most meaningful aspects of an extraordinary life is not simply what you achieve, but what you help make possible for someone else. Extraordinary lives often aren't built in the spotlight. They're built in the dark. In the seasons when the only things carrying you are a mustard seed of faith, grit, and the audacity to demand more for your life. So keep doing the work. Master the invisible, hold to your calling, and find pathways to rise together. The seeds you plant today will lead you into your extraordinary life. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where someone assumes that the leader, the expert, or perhaps the attorney is standing somewhere else, I want you to remain confident. And if you feel so inclined, smile, because the person they're looking for may just be you. Thank you.